Somewhat different surroundings for today's video. I'm in my bedroom, as you can see, but that's besides the point. Here's what I want to talk about. The Speaker of the House is among the most powerful positions in the United States government. It has been for some time, and the list of speakers, past speakers, is often a list of some of the most influential people to ever serve in the American system of government. Henry Clay, Thomas Brackett Reed, Joseph Gurney Cannon, Sam Rayburn, Tip O'Neill, Nancy Pelosi. These are major figures in the history of American government, people whose legacy is going to be with us or has been with us for many, many years. The current speaker, Mike Johnson, isn't as distinctive. He is one of the more minor figures to ever hold the job. But even compared to some of the more forgettable speakers in American history, Mike Johnson stands out for how shall I put this? For how much of a nothing burger he is, for how little he has really lived up to the stature of the office itself. Now, there are very substantive reasons to say this, first among them, that in his obsequiousness to the president, he has all but destroyed the House as a meaningful policy-making institution. And at this moment, with the House in a kind of extended recess, out of session, there's a real sense in which he's dissolved the House itself, removing it from the constitutional order altogether. That alone makes Johnson distinctive in how terrible he is. But he's also just terrible in small ways, and small kind of ordinary ways that are honestly a little entertaining. And one of those big ways is how, whenever confronted with something that might be even a little bit politically uncomfortable, Mike Johnson's answer isn't to try to go to talking points, isn't to try to meet the thing head on. It's to say, basically, oh, I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. This could be the biggest events happening in the news, the biggest things happening in the United States, and he's asked about them point blank during this shutdown especially, and his answer is, doesn't look like anything to me, I've never heard about it. It's just, it's so consistent. Don't believe me, check the tape.
I have not heard or looked into any of the details of that. I've been a little busy. Terrible, that's the first I've heard of that. I don't know anything about it. I'm not following the day-to-day on that. I can't comment on any of those instances. I haven't seen or heard any of those videos. I don't know what you're talking about with the children. I don't know anything about that. I didn't see the interview. You have to ask the president about that. I'm not sure.
It's as if we elected Johnny Tightlips to be Speaker of the House.
Did you have a nice flight, Johnny Tightlips?
I ain't saying nothing.
I understand. How is your mother?
Oh, hey, who says I have a mother?
All of this is so embarrassing, such a disgrace to the office of Speaker. And I think in terms of the current political moment, it's evidence of just the extraordinarily weak position that Mike Johnson occupies as Speaker. He knows he's given up the Speaker's power, or the House's power, to the president. And there's a whole conversation to have about what is driving this. One explanation I have, beyond ideological adherence to the president, that kind of political support, it's just that Johnson is a relatively short-serving member of the House. He's only been there since 2017. He doesn't really have the kind of experience one expects of speakers, and one result of that is that I'm not even sure he's really equipped to do the job in the way, say, a Pelosi was able to do the job, or even a John Boehner, who got the job after nearly 2 decades in the House. Mike Johnson is a weak speaker in a weak position with a weak hand. He barely has a majority. That majority is fractious and divisive. And he knows as well as anyone, I think, that if he makes one misstep, he's either going to incur the wrath of the president or incur the wrath of members who just don't like the guy very much. So some of this is just explained by Johnson's precarious political position, but some of it is explained by the fact that he is a little toady, a little worm man, you might even say. Someone who doesn't just lack the skills and ability to be Speaker of the House, but lacks the character to be Speaker of the House, that lacks the sense of self-respect to be Speaker of the House, who lacks the basic ability to stand up for himself or his chamber in the face of executive overreach or just ordinary political difficulty. I started this off with a little bit of a list of past speakers who stand tall in American history. No one is going to be adding Mike Johnson to that list. If there is a list of the most disgraceful speakers, on the other hand, I'm sure we'll find Mike Johnson somewhere near the top.